We are live, everybody. It's the man they call Dave and Chevy. It's the Combatcast, and we are going to talk some combat sports. Chevy, tell people what we got coming up.
All right, next week, October 21st, UFC 294, Makhachev versus Oliveira 2 from Abu Dhabi. That'll be a 2 p.m. Eastern card. And then at the end of the month, October 28th, Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, live on pay-per-view, ESPN Plus, boxing. Looking forward to that one. Don't think it'll be very long, but we'll see. And then November 4th, new fight being made. It was originally UFC Fight Night, Blades versus Almeida. Today, Curtis Blades had to pull out. I'm not sure why. I assume it's some sort of injury, but the Black Beast steps in to face Almeida in Brazil on short notice.
Yeah, what's funny about that? I just feel like it's our buddies when they said that, it's like, oh no, because obviously he thinks, it's a tough fight for Derek, and we love Derek Lewis, but it's always a tough fight for Derek Lewis. Like, with his skill set, it's just interesting, but he has that knockout power. He knows how to conserve his energy. He looks to be in the best shape ever. He's coming off that big victory. I'd say if he's gonna, be able to do this and win this fight, like, now's the time, So
yeah, Almeida also has fought at light heavyweight periodically, so I think he might have a harder time holding Derek down because Derek uses no jiu-jitsu or wrestling get-ups. He just explodes and gets up because he's so powerful. So
right.
He'll be a lot bigger, even though he's lost so much weight. He'll be a lot stronger than Almeida, so maybe that might nullify some of it, but he's also going to give up his back. He doesn't have any neck to get choked out, but I don't know. We'll see.
It's an interesting matchup, actually.
Yeah.
We'll see what's up. But let's talk about this past weekend's UFC. I thought rather enjoyable card.
Yeah, let's get right into the co-main event. Joe Pfeiffer versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan.
Joe Pfeiffer looked good. I mean, he displayed just great all-around mixed martial arts technique. He used his takedowns. He threw a kick in there, here and there. He threw some striking. He got cracked once here and there. Good chin. Even, just good clinch game, locking up when he had to. But overall, it was kind of like he said going into this fight. He was a better all-around mixed martial artist, and he proved that. Guy's got skills on the mic. I think Joe Pfeiffer could be a star down the road for them sooner rather than later, depending on how they want to matchmake him.
Yeah, he just looked slicker, more polished in there. He respected Abdul's power, but he was confident that he was going to be able to get it done once he wore him down a little bit, and that's what he did. I say give him a shot to get into the rankings. Maybe some of those 15 to 10 guys, but I would like to see him against, and I think this is pretty near the top 10. I didn't look at the rankings, but Chris Curtis, I know Paul Craig is down there. Even though he only has the one fight in middleweight, I think
he's got a fight too. I'm trying to remember.
Nazardine Imavov. I know he recently had to pull out of a fight like that. Those are all good matchups. I think good progression for him.
I really like that Chris Curtis matchup a lot. Actually,
tough fights for sure. But I think you give him a chance.
Yeah,
in those top.
Well, he's probably a little nearer the top, but Kelvin Gastelum or someone when he comes back from injury too would have been interesting to see.
Yeah, he's top 8 probably. I think.
He's playing at welterweight now too, isn't he?
Yeah, he has moved to welterweight, so I think he is still in the middleweight rankings. But how they probably still have Hamza in the welterweight rankings. So, all right. Let's move on to the main event, and that was Grant Dawson versus Bobby Green. I called this one. Kind of.
There's not a lot really to say. Green just clipped him right in the beginning. I'd say he's just a better all-around striker, which I think I kind of figured going into this. But I just didn't expect Grant Dawson to get clipped like that. This is MMA. Anything could happen. Super happy for Bobby Green. Mm-hmm. And, coming off that submission victory over Tony Ferguson, this is probably some of the best momentum that he's ever had in his whole career. And I hope he gets a big fight next. I know he said he just wants to fight in December. He's not calling anybody out, but he wants to be the most active fighter of the year and put him on a December card. I don't think there's a problem with that.
Yeah, no. I'm super glad that he broke in. He's going to be in the top 10 now. So good on Bobby Green. You know, he's in his like mid 30s too. So he's making an excellent run like later in his career. I think that obviously that has to do with his tremendous striking defense. He doesn't get hit as much. So that's a big reason why he can do it so late in the game. But I'm excited for whoever he fights next. Like you said, didn't really call anyone out, but wants to get back in there, be an active fighter, most active fighter in the year. And I assume the UFC will oblige him. So looking forward to that one.
All right. Bellator 300?
Yeah. So I didn't get to watch this because I don't have Showtime. And I didn't feel like stealing it like a bad person. So we'll just go over it quickly. Liz Carmouche versus Alamale McFarland.
Carmouche.
Yeah, she got the I heard that she kind of beat her up for 5 rounds and she ended up getting the TKO via leg kick. So good on her. That was for the feather or flyweight belt, I believe, Bellator, and then Cyborg versus Kat Zingano for the featherweight belt. Our girl Kat, she got TKO'd in the first round. Cyborg's just still super powerful. Like I was saying,
yeah,
power's the last thing to go. So bummer for Kat. That I assume she's pretty near retirement at this point.
Yeah, this was probably the last big fight for her. I mean, she wasn't fighting very frequently in Bellator anyway. But she had got her victories, and she did everything she could to put herself in this position. But ultimately, it is what it is.
Yeah. And the lightweight belt over there, Usman Nurmagomedov versus Brett Primus. Usman won via decision. We're all shocked. I'm pretty sure he's like undefeated. So
yeah,
keep chugging on.
Let's see what happens if Bellator goes under this free market. Where they end up and who these guys end up fighting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Still no real movement on what's going on with that, but we know they're being shopped around. So,
right, like we don't know exactly officially what happens with these contracts. You know, if they all get bought up, or are you just buying the name at that point? You know, what are you getting? You know, that deal would have to be worked out. It's kind of weird because they're all independent contractors technically, but I feel like I bet their contracts all get bought out.
Yeah,
work with them. You know?
Maybe not all of them. Maybe not
all.
The lower end guys. Bellator has a lot of, 0-1, 1-0 fighters. Bet they don't make the cut for whoever picks them up. But
right.
All right, let's talk about this upcoming week's UFC card. This isn't, normally we do co-main and main event. I'm not too happy with the co-main event. So I just want to shout out the third to last fight on the card. Jonathan Martinez versus Adrian Yanez. That's number 13 versus number 14 bantamweight matchup. That is going to absolutely be fight of the night. I would bet my house on it. Going to be an excellent fight. So we don't need to go all the way through it or anything, but you're going to see some of the best striking technique in that one for sure. Going to be guys flying all over the ring, very fast, excellent defensive fighters as well. So I'm looking forward to that one.
No doubt. I didn't know that was the third fight down. That's pretty good.
Yeah, should be the co-main event, but let's talk about the co-main event. Jennifer Maia versus Viviane Araujo.
Viviane is 11-5, 3 KOs, 4 subs, 4 decisions. She's lost the last 2 in a row to Amanda Ribas and Alexa Grasso. So quality opposition she's losing to. But Maia, 21-9-1, more fights, 4 KOs, 5 subs, 12 decisions. Performance of the night and former Invicta fighting champion, interim Invicta fighting championship. So she's just had a lot more fights, I feel like. The competition is really, they both all fought really quality competitors. But I feel Maia's has had a little bit more success and is probably a little bit better when it gets right down to it. I'm going to go with Jennifer Maia by decision.
Yeah, women's flyweight must be a very competitive division because other than the top couple girls, every other fight is a toss-up, basically.
Right.
So, it's good matchmaking. Both of these ladies have been very up and down due to, being so closely matched to their opponents. Like I was saying, I don't understand how this is the co-main personally.
No.
It should be the other way around. But here we have it. So I'll go with Arroyo because I think she's due for a win. And, that's how much of a toss-up it is.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Main event.
I am excited for the main event here. Sodiq Yusuff versus Edson Barboza.
All right. Yusuff is 13-2. 6 KOs, 1 sub, 6 decision. He's 6-1 in the UFC. That lone loss is a decision to Arnold Allen, who was rolling until he went Max Holloway. Barboza, though, 23-11, 14 KOs, 1 sub, 8 decisions. Barboza, this guy, he's got kickboxing record here. He's just like fight of the night 8 times. Just looking at this, it's just crazy. Performance of the night twice. 4th most knockdowns in UFC lightweight division history. Tied with Melvin Gillard for 3rd. It's just record after. This guy's a striking machine, but he's been around for a while too. And I think that plays a part. There's a little bit of probably battle wear on this guy because he's been around so much. And at the end of the day, I'm going to go with Yusuff. I think this is going to be a striker's delight, but I like Yusuff to do what it takes. And I'll say, I don't know if he's going to put away Barboza. Maybe late. We'll say 4th round TKO.
Yeah. Barboza's great, but he is 37 years old. And as we were talking about with Cyborg and Kat, athleticism is the first thing to go. And Edson relies heavily on his athleticism when it comes to that switch kick that Joe Rogan always loves to comment on, or his hand speed or whatever. It all comes down to athleticism for him. He's always got the ability to KO his opponent for sure. But I'm going to go with Sodiq on this one. I think he mixes it up early in the fight, and when Edson starts to get tired, he kind of just rides him out for a decision win. So certainly has potential to be an exciting striking matchup, but I think that that's if Yusuff wants to engage in that. I don't think he will. I think he's going to be smart, try to mix it up, keep Edson guessing so he can't just throw at will. So I'm going to go Sodiq Yusuff by decision.
By decision. All right. And I think there was one other fight we were going to bring up.
Oh, yeah. So Misfits boxing, we try not to get too much into the Carney stuff. And we haven't really been talking too much about all this Dylan Dennis stuff going on. But Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis is happening as the co-main event of this Misfits boxing. Also KSI versus Tommy Fury, but who cares about that fight? Really more interested in the Logan Paul and Dylan Dennis fight.
The Logan Paul Dylan Dennis more of a circus, but it's probably a little more of a toss-up too. I would expect Tommy Fury just to beat KSI.
Right.
Right. So this fight has been so strange. Like I've caught some of the trash talk online. It's basically Dylan Dennis going after Logan Paul's fiance. I think there's a lawsuit possibly in the works against him too for this. Dylan Dennis, we were talking about this off air. We were more surprised he's even showing up. He's notoriously pulled out for fight after fight.
I'll still be surprised if he shows up. He's not in the ring yet. So
it's true. That's true. Supposedly there's a loss. There's a thing in the contract that he can be sued and they can come after him if he doesn't show up. So we'll see. Logan did tell Dylan that, I don't know if it was like 2 months after the fact, but if, they want, they can do this in MMA afterwards too, which I was commenting afterwards would probably be a more even fight because Dylan would clearly have an advantage in jiu-jitsu, but Logan's bigger, stronger, probably a better striker, as we're going to find out, I believe, and can actually has some wrestling background. So I think that would be more interesting. But this is what the Paul brothers like to do, and I'm really just surprised that Dylan has agreed to show up for this. But like Chevy said, he's not in the ring yet. But if he shows up, I would imagine Logan Paul is going to TKO him round 3. I don't know. I don't know how long this guy can last.
Yeah, if he shows up, I think round 3 is a safe bet. The only thing that makes me think he might actually show up is that huge clause where I think it was like $400,000 he has to pay if he doesn't show up to the fight. I don't think Dylan Dennis probably has that much money. He hasn't fought in like 5 years. So unless he's making a lot of money on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, I don't know what he's doing to make money. So if he shows up, he probably gets knocked out. I guess we would watch it in MMA. He would certainly have a better chance. But if he doesn't show up, Logan Paul's going to be in some big trouble because Mike Perry is the backup fighter, and he will demolish all 3 of the other competitors in the same night if he wanted to. Tommy Fury included, because Tommy Fury's barely a boxer, and he just would not be able to stand up to Perry, but we'll see. I'm hoping Dylan shows up. I might actually watch this for the co-main event at least, just so we have some talking points about it later on. But that's where we're at. We're talking about Cardi bullshit.
Yeah, I would. There's a certain level of interest, but I can't. It's almost like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like I don't care enough to like really go out of my way to see this, but I find it interesting to talk about like after the fact. So I guess that shows you my interest. Like, oh, I'm curious what happens, but I'm not curious enough where I really want to pay money for this.
I think it's on earlier during the day, and I would never pirate anything ever, but I'm pretty sure that they're not as diligent about their piracy prosecution as the UFC is. So
well, they
don't pirate things, guys. Don't pirate things.
We got them right now. All right. Fans, Chevy, tell me what we got coming up one more time.
All right. October 21st, we're going to not be talking about any Carney bullshit. It'll be UFC 294, Makhachev versus Oliveira 2. Then we're kind of back to the Carney bullshit. October 28th, Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, which I am excited for that one, genuinely. And then November 4th, UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Almeida.
All right, guys. Some good stuff coming up. Carney or non-Carney, whatever.